welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. I have a couple of fun crafts for you today. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Today we'll be working on some easy rustic farmhouse winter craft dupes. So let's get started with project number 1. For this project, I saw this whole thing on Pinterest, and it was this, tiered tray with all these winter things, and these two items kind of caught my eye. How can I sort of recreate, but, Lindify it? So I have this from Dollar Tree, this as well from Dollar Tree. The first one was okay, but it was a little too skinny and long, and I liked this because it was wider, and I thought I'll take the handles off one and add it to the other. And in this I have because I thought it would be really easy just to make a little, wooden tag out of. So I'm removing the handles off of this, of course. I'll save the other piece for a later day. We have Bella in the left corner, and everything, of course, off camera. I just sanded and took all the labels off, ready to go, and I took all the glue and stuff off the handles. Now we have Boston in the right corner, and there goes the handle. First thing I'm going to do is just drill a hole in the top portion of my wood tag here. Easy. And then I picked out a thing here that matches the size of the handles so that I could drill a hole on each side here. Of course, number 1, and fits perfectly. And of course, you wouldn't have to use the handles, but for some reason in my brain, I was like, I've got to make this look like a rolling pin sort of thing, so I'm going with it. For paint, I'm using Debbie's Design Diary Little Black Dress, and I'm going to use Waverly chalk paint, just a plain white for the handles, as well as a few other things we'll get into. Now, this particular piece I actually created in Cricut Design Space using my Shapes tool. I had ovals, rectangles, circles, that kind of thing, because I wanted to look like an old street sign. And then I took that image into my Wood Laser program and I cut it out. I will have free printable PDF patterns for you on my blog. The link will be in the description box. For this particular pattern, I printed one where the words are not within the street sign and then one with. Now, like I said, they are PDF. Unfortunately, I'm still trying to find something that will work with my iPad to make SVG files for you. So if you want to use it with your electronic cutting machine program, you have to take it in there and then just clean everything out to be able to use it. Otherwise, you can print it out onto cardstock or onto paper and use carbon paper to trace it out or something like that. Let's move on to this snowflake I'll be using. I got it from craftingwithkimber.com. I'll have links to her product in the description box below. And let's start painting our main pieces with our black paint. Of course, I do about 2 coats all sides on both of these pieces. And then we'll start painting the other things in white, of course. I wanted that real stark contrast. Anything I found for like old street signs, it was like black background with white street sign or white background with black street sign. And of course, I chose to do the black with the white street sign frame. Now on the snowflake, I wanted a little bit of texture. So I'm just kind of pouncing my paint up and down with a little pouncy brush, setting it in between. I do that twice. Sometimes I'll do it 3 times. It is a little bit of a longer process, but if I wanted it to go quicker, I could grab like baking soda and add it to the paint. But a lot of times I'm just too lazy to bend down below my craft desk and grab the baking soda. So I just do it this way. It takes longer, but that's how it goes. But this is how that texture looks. It's really fun, and it just gives it a little bit of personality. I only do the one side because, of course, the back side I will glue onto our little wooden tag area. All right, and then I'll just show a little bit here, but I do take some 120 grit sandpaper and I distress all my pieces so it gives it that little bit of a rustic look. Now I'm using my frame. I'm just marking it on the main piece here so I know where my parameters are to fit my vinyl wording inside the frame. And here that is just in white. I'll have the fonts listed down below for you in case you want to just, type that out and recreate it for yourself. And then here's what I found at Hobby Lobby. If you want to create some framing, it's in the mini dollhouse section. It's 2 of these long pieces in each package, but it's really nice because it has some texture to it instead of just using like plain popsicle sticks or something like that. So you can kind of get the same feel for it if you don't have a way to cut out the street sign portion to make it 3D you know, if you want that part in a kind of a 3D. And now I'm just taking the white chalk paint mixed with water, adding a little bit of splatter on my pieces because it just looked a little too flat. And I'll do it on all sides, front, back, around the sides to make it, you know, all look cohesive. And then I'll just start using my Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, and I'll glue my little street sign frame onto the front. Perfect. I'm liking how this looks already. Really easy project, I think. And then, of course, I'm going to add some glue into the holes we drilled and add our handles on there. I kind of actually went back and forth whether I wanted handles after I drilled the holes, but I'm like, well, I drilled the holes, so I have to fill them in. But I think it would look cute either way. And then we'll glue our snowflake onto our wood tag. And of course, this would look cute as like the original picture, you know, on a tiered tray, or just maybe in an ensemble, you know, on a shelf in your kitchen or something like that. Now I'm using this white decorative trim. It's a small sized rope to add to our wooden tag here. I just pull it through and then add a little knot at the top, add a couple of white beads for my supply on each tail of the rope here, and then I'll of course tie a little knot at the end, cut off the excess. Then I'll smoosh the little ends right up underneath the knot. And I know that Christmas is over, but winter is still shimmery, right? So I'm bringing out the old silver glitter dust. I'll have a link down below for you. I'll shimmer it up a little bit off camera. That makes this project complete. Let's take a look at the comparison now. Not a cost comparison, just a comparison from my Pinterest-inspired find to what I made. Which one do you like best? Let's move right on into project number 2. Here's my other Pinterest-inspired find that I found. I just loved how simplistic it was, I guess, but it kind of packed a statement. So let's try and recreate in our own way. I'm using one of these 12-inch chunky slat boards from Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to bring, and Bella's tail, I'm going to bring in, these are snowflakes from craftingwithkimber.com. She has different sizes. I, of course, use the top larger size for what I'm going to do. And then I will have a free printable again for you in my blog. Now, I did cut these out with my wood laser machine again. They're about a 2x4 size. It's really thin wood, so I cut 2 of each one so that I could glue them together and make them thicker. And, of course, I have an S, an N, my W, and instead of just an O, I decided to cut out a mitten. I cut 2 pieces of those and then a separate little cuff to make it a little bit more 3D. That's what it looks like. Now, of course, if you don't have a laser machine or something like that, like our Walmart, they don't have these anymore, but they used to have these letters. So, you know, those will work great. Or, of course, Hobby Lobby has these. I think they're about a little over $1 now, but you get 2 letters per pack. So you could certainly do it that way. You could use the printable, just print it out, or just print out, you know, cut it out vinyl or something like that. And for the mitten, if you can't find a mitten or don't have one in your stash, just use a letter O, and like a little snowflake on the side would be certainly just as cute. So those are some design options for you. Now, what I'm going to do right off camera first, I'm just going to take some wood glue from Dollar Tree and then wood glue my 2 pieces together, okay, because there's no fun in watching that. Now I'm taking Waverly Antique Wax mixed with water, and I'm going to stain our little Dollar Tree board here because, of course, my other wood has that darker wood tone underneath. And then I'll use my lovely looking DIY White Swan chalk paint to paint the letters in white. And I'm going to use this Gravel Road DIY chalk paint for the mitten. It looks a little dark now, but no worries. We'll make it a little bit lighter as if by magic. So yes, I wanted to just stain this, and then of course I'm painting the other pieces, and then when I distress them, you'll see that darker stain come through, and then that will match the staining on, you know, our main board that we're doing here. Now this is the, you know, Gravel Road chalk paint on the mitten. It's a beautiful color gray, but it's a little darker than I wanted. And I've showed this before, but we have new people watching all the time. Welcome to my channel. But when you dry it, look how light it gets. It's weird to me because usually when you dry paint, it gets darker, but this gets lighter, and it's just fun to do. So I do a couple of coats on that. The snowflake is already painted because I had one from a previous project, and it's already textured just like I did the snowflake in the first project. So that was quick and easy. And then of course now I'm going in with the White Swan chalk paint. Yeah, that White Swan chalk paint is very used. You can see I don't take very good care of cleaning my paint off the rim, which is why I had my lid taped on. But it's still usable, the paint inside. And now I'm just coming in with my 120 grit sandpaper. I'm just distressing everything up just like in the last project, because although I love that farmhouse feel, I love it more rustic instead. Now I did come in after I painted each letter and that and the mitten cuff and stuff, and I did the same texture as I did on the Snowflake. I did that off camera because we already seen how to do it. And then I'm just coming in with my sandpaper here and sanding it up. And then this just makes my heart feel so much better with that sanding, you know, and that dark wood coming up underneath. And of course I sand front and back so the back's all nice finished off. And then I'll just come in with the mitten a little bit. Beautiful, isn't it? Now the base of the mitten I left flat, so it had a little bit different personality. The cuff is textured, but you know, sand if you want, don't if you don't want. And then I'll just sand up my Snowflake a little bit. And now we need to attach our letters. Of course, mine are not very thick, so they're not going to hold well. So what I did is I cut with my wood laser machine. I had to cut 4 pieces for each one, but I cut them to fit the backs of the letters. I was actually going to use those from Dollar Tree. You can buy a package of those little wood cube blocks, but I couldn't find my package. I have no clue where it is, so I had to cut my own. But as I said, I just cut to fit each letter and then glued them together. Before we get those going, I'm taking some black chalk paint, tiny bit of splatter on the white because I don't want it over splattered with dots, the whole piece, but just to elevate and give it a little dimension. And then I'll come in with a lot more splatters in the white chalk paint mixed with water, splattering on with a fan brush. And I often like take my little, you know, dauber here. You can find these at Dollar Tree, little ball burnishers or whatever you want to call it, and add bigger dots myself when I splatter. Now I'm just going to add my little blocks to the wood first, and this may be backwards to some of you, I realize that, but what I did is drew a line down the center of my block, and I want of my wood bottom, and I want my blocks on first so that I know they are perfectly lined up, because you know I don't like to often eyeball things. But as you can see, everything's all in a row except for the big long piece. I left a little space in front to offset that 3D of the cuff that we're putting on the front of our mitten. We'll go ahead and glue that part on first to our mitten and get the mitten in place first, because that will kind of set the tone for the rest of them, because it was kind of a bigger piece. While that cuff is setting, I'm gluing the Snowflake on, and then I've marked on the back of each wood piece where it's going to attach to the block, and then I'm going to add also a little glue on the straight edge of the bottom of each piece, just using my Fabri-Tac glue here. You, of course, could use hot glue or super glue or something like that, and then I will just line it up to the block. Yeah, Bella came in for a little head bonk. Adding my W in on the back, on the edges just a little bit, and then add it right to my blocks. Again, yeah, I'm probably doing it backwards. You can add these however you want, but the key is getting the letters onto your blocks to hold it up. If you need blocks, if you have really thick letters and don't need them, then don't use blocks. It's just the way I had to do it, of course, because my letters are so thin. Once I get those on there, yes, I'm going to add some shimmer off camera. It's got to match my other piece, right? That makes this project complete. Let's take a look at our Pinterest-inspired find versus what I created. Which one do you like best? So I hope you love both of our winter dupes today. Stay tuned for a few more winter projects coming up. Leave me a comment down below and let me know which project you like best. I kind of like the snow one better, only because on the street sign one, I love that part, but I'm not necessarily a fan of the little tag for some reason. But what the heck, I made it. It was fun. It's done. Let's move on. Please give this video a thumbs up. And if you walked in here for the first time, you're just checking things out, you're digging what you saw, make sure before you click off, you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on another project from me. Now, before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. Before you even ask, know that God understands and knows what you need at this very moment. Yet His Word also says in the Bible, the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 7, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be opened. Even though He knows what you need, God still wants you to sit down and have a conversation with Him. He wants you to discuss your needs in faith, knowing that if you seek Him, His love for you will always respond back to you. He wants you to stand in front of Him and knock. He wants you to trust in Him and hope for His promises. He wants that relationship between you and Him to be an unbreakable bond. A bond with an unbreakable promise that He will never leave you nor forsake you. It's a bond so undeniable that He laid down His life for you to keep you close to Him. He wants you to trust that He will take care of you. He will always be attentive to your needs according to His will and purpose for your life. But He wants that loving relationship with you to be proactive. You see, it's a relationship between two beings that gives to one because one loves enough to ask, seek, and find. It's an active involvement from one heart to another. It's a deep, irrevocable attachment of two hearts seeking each other and trusting each other. It's a relationship that will love unconditionally forever and ever without hesitation. So have confidence in that as you and He share that relationship built on love and trust. Through this relationship, He will help rebuild those things that need repaired. He will guide you in everything you do, and He will help you to discover all that He has for you. Simply put, He will take you to places that your heart needs to go. So as you both are in close contact with one another, trust that His love will always show you the way. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.